Hi, I'm Celeste, and welcome to Find Your Purple. Well, we finished our first 21-day challenge of the new year, and I think I mentioned earlier, I don't like to do New Year's resolutions. I think setting myself up for one thing that I'm going to do all year just puts too much pressure on me, and that doesn't do well for my motivation. But I like to do 21-day challenges, and this year we started with a no added sugar 21-day challenge. And my oldest daughter, Ashley, and my granddaughter, Celeste, joined me on the challenge. And part of the deal was that I would cook some for them. Now, they weren't going to go vegan like I am, but they were willing to eat anything I brought them and not add sugar to anything they bought. So we finished the 21 days, and it really was a success. Weight loss wasn't a goal, but my granddaughter lost 10 pounds and my daughter lost between 8 and 9 pounds. I lost 2, but I thought I was going to gain weight because in my effort to try to find food they would like, I was doing a lot more wheat pastas and different kind of pancakes and like sweet potato rolls and adding those kind of things that were vegan, but definitely a lot more carbs than I normally ate. And it took a lot more time for me to prepare because I eat simpler, but I knew my granddaughter especially wouldn't like any of it. So it was more of an effort for me, but they did really come up with, they like pumpernickel bread. They're totally on board with pumpernickel bread rather than white bread. That's a huge shift. They like sprouts. I do my own sprouting, I mentioned in an earlier video. And my granddaughter especially really likes sprout, and she really likes the pumpernickel bread. So that was 2 wins. Let's see, hummus. My granddaughter doesn't really like the hummus, but my daughter loves the homemade hummus. And that has been kind of her go-to to avoid potato chips and things. At her office, they have a whole row of free potato chips and different kinds of chips, and she stayed away from them for the whole 21 days. So that's, again, another win. My daughter liked pretty much everything I made. My granddaughter doesn't like a lot of the textures, so she didn't like all of it. But again, she was willing to try. And when they did buy things, they read the label and stayed away from sugar added as much as possible. Now, I did find going to the grocery was a lot more time consuming because I just usually picked up, if it said vegan and it was a dressing or whatever, I would take it. Didn't think about the fact that all of the dressings I liked had added sugar. Even the corn and the canned corn I liked had added sugar. So I had to modify some stuff. And if we had tortillas, then I made sure, I got one that didn't have the sugar. So I'd have to read all the labels to find the one that I thought was the best fit. Now, I did minimize processed food, did not eliminate it totally. So, but again, it was an interesting in the shopping that I realized really how few aisles I go down in the shopping anymore. There's so many rows and rows of pretty much junk food. So that was kind of an education, both for me and my daughter and granddaughter. So we considered it a plus, and we continued. I'm not cooking as much for them, but I'm still doing some meals that, I'll take over and they can try different things and different fruits. It really has pushed me to try a lot more recipes than I would. I've bought a lot of spices, so my food bill was a lot higher because, one, I was feeding more people, but I did also buy a lot of pantry items like spices. Before, I never had anything more than salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, that kind of thing. And I'm doing turmeric, a lot of turmeric. I've got some cumin, I've got chili powder, I've got the sage, the rosemary, the oregano. I mean, I really added quite a bit because of the information I was reading was how much those spices added to vitamins and minerals that you get. So I'm kind of changing up my drinks, even my teas. One of my students, I do English, help people practice English as a hobby. And one of them, who's located in Poland, mentioned a tea with rosemary, sage, and oregano. And you have to kind of like green teas because it's a very earthy flavor. But there's something about it that I kind of like. And in a cold weather, it seems to be a good cold weather kind of tea. So one of the doctors I had been following, I think it was Dr. Lee, who talks about eating 5 foods for 5 different systems in your body as much as you can, and that would help your body heal in these different cases or different parts of your system. And he talked about the importance of spices. So I also drank a clove tea and there's been a turmeric. So I'm kind of expanding my spice world. And so that's been a good experience for me. I'm also expanding my fruit world because, again, I was trying to get some snacks and really try to stay with whole foods. So I had never tried pomegranates. I like pomegranate juice, but juices really take out the fiber of all the fruits, so I don't drink fruit juices anymore. But I do love pomegranates. So I watched a YouTube video on how to eat them, and I just open it, pour the seeds in a bowl, and we'll probably eat them over 2 meals. My daughter and granddaughter, I didn't bring any to them because I don't think they like this fact it's a lot of seeds. But I've had the pomegranates, the guava, the kiwi. Yesterday, I was introduced to lychee from a real estate client of mine who is from Taiwan, and love, love, love it. And it has, if you give you a feel, it's really strong. They're only little things, and I'll bring one sometime. And easy to peel, and a big pit in the middle, but they're very, very sweet. And they have a lot more vitamin C than even an orange of the similar grams. So I really like that. Persimmons. Never had a persimmon before. Love them. Hard to find because I tried it, loved it, went back, and they haven't had them since. What was the other one? Oh, dragon fruit. Not a big fan of dragon fruit. I didn't know how to eat it for a long time, so I, again, looked at YouTube, pretty much cut it in half and peel it. And it might have been the one I had. I don't know if maybe I picked one that wasn't that flavorful, but it was kind of like a kiwi, but with less flavor. So wasn't a big fan. I've got to Google it to see. Didn't dislike it. Got to Google it and see how healthy it is or how many vitamins and minerals it has to see if I want to add it or not. So the whole 21-day journey was a win for all of us. Again, we're continuing it to some degree, and if nothing else, my daughter and granddaughter are becoming much, much more aware of what they eat. As to the next, I've got February coming up, so 1st of February, I'm going to do another 21-day challenge. I don't know if my daughters, I think 2 or 3 of them said they would probably join me. Not a tough one. We don't compete with each other. It's just more ourselves. But I need to add cardio to my exercise regime. I do Pilates now. I've been doing that for 6 months. Love it. I really think, I'd rather stay home, let's be honest. If it's cold and rainy, I don't want to go, but I go. But when I'm there, I do feel the stretching is really, really good for me. It's helping me with my posture and loosening me up and all of that. So I'm doing that, but I'm not really getting much cardio out of it. They have a cardio class. It's not at a time I can go, so I just needed to add cardio. So found a 5K run, I guess you'd call it, in early March at a nearby community. So I texted my daughters and said, hey, anyone want to join me for a 5K on March? And I don't plan on running it, nor do my daughters, I think, because, again, 3 of them responded they probably would. We haven't signed up, haven't paid the fee yet, but what that will do then is I Googled, and it said, how many steps are in a 5K? And they said roughly, I think they said 6,700 roughly. I've got shorter legs, probably more than that. But I thought, okay, if I walked 7,000 steps just a couple days a week, I'm not going crazy with this, to prepare for it and then do the walk that day. It was just something to push me. I'm just going to continue keeping an eye on the processed food. I did have wine again after my no sugar. I did go back to have my wine, some red wine, Cabernet Sauvignon, which is one of the wines that Dr. Lee said, if you're going to drink wine, that's a one that does have benefits for you. So that's the one I went to. I had been a Merlot drinker, but now it's Cabernet. Now, I'm not going to drink, I don't drink much, but I do enjoy it sometimes. So I will allow myself that. I'm not going to be so strict on the no sugar. I'm going to stay away from the sugar processed foods as much as possible. I did use honey. I made a beer bread that one of my students had told me about, and I needed to move more toward the whole wheat flour. I was just trying it. My granddaughter loved it, but again, unfortunately, it's not the healthiest or low fat, but it is vegan. So I'm trying to find a variation of it. Did sweet potato rolls. Again, trying to do it first time with the white flour as the recommended requirement in the recipe, then maybe move off to try it with mix. Did find millet. I had never had millet before, and I made a fried rice with millet instead of rice. My granddaughter did like that. And so if you read the ingredient or the vitamins and minerals in millet compared to white rice, there's a huge difference. A lot of fiber and minerals and vitamins, and that was a win. I've got to look up to see what else I can make with millet. One of my students who is has to be gluten-free, she uses millet a lot, so she was going to help me figure out a few recipes that I could maybe use millet and whole wheat as a combination for a bread or something. But that was, again, another win for my granddaughter. So didn't say she saw a whole lot of changes yet, other than she did lose 10 pounds. But I'm thinking if I continue giving them some food for another month, maybe that would be a 60-day kind of diet shift. Again, they're still eating some cheese, not as much. They are still eating eggs. She likes eggs on her pumpernickel toast with sprouts. But we're still kind of moving, and as I give them replacements for things, if they like it, they're trying a vegan mayo that I found because my daughter really loves mayo and has not liked the vegan mayo, so Hellman has one, so I did send her some of that to try to see if we could find an alternative that may get her off. I'd like to get them off dairy more. But anyway, that's the update, and I wondered if any of you did a 21-day challenge. And if you didn't, no problem. February 1st is coming up. I kind of like the 21 days. It's a reasonable time to try something. Add something to your regimen, take something away from your regimen. It's just something that makes your life better in some way, or makes the people around you. Maybe write a letter every day for 21 days to someone you haven't talked to for a while. Just reach out, make a call. Anything like that is improving your life. And I think my birthday is in February, so I will be 69, so it will be my last year in the 60s. And so I'll make it a good year and make sure that everything I'm doing benefits either my health, my physical, my spiritual, my relational well-being. So hope you do the same. And early in the year, make 2023 a good one. As always, grab your cup of tea, sit back, and let's start sharing. Until next time, bye-bye.